Warning, the following program is highly controversial and may be offensive to some selected people groups. Listener discretion is advised. And now, the Commander-in-Chief is back. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
All right, there we are. All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast, and welcome back, America. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallup. So glad that you're on this afternoon. And we've got Mike Shoesmith up next, our Toronto, Canada correspondent. Mike Shoesmith, welcome to Freedom Friday. It's so good to have you with us. I know you got lots of stuff to talk about, but first of all, there's something in the news of science and in evolution. I understand we've discovered a new species of spiders.
Hang on a second, Carl. Hang on just a minute. Just a second here. It might be, no, it's not. Never mind. I saw this bright light coming toward me. I thought it might have been the end of the world.
Yeah,
but it's just some dummy with his high beams on.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. Well, listen, just because you misinterpreted the Mayan calendar doesn't mean it's like the end of the world or anything. I mean, come on.
Well, listen, can we just put an end to all this now once and for all? I mean, Harold Camping, he's out of the picture. The Mayans, they're out of the picture. In fact, even the Mayans themselves are laughing at all of this down there.
Yeah.
I mean, can we finally put an end to all this and just do what the Bible says?
Yeah.
Take your eyes off the world and put your eyes on heaven. Put your eyes on Jesus, and you will not be wrong.
That's right.
When it happens, and it won't be the end of the world, it'll be a brand new age. It'll be a glorious time. When it happens, you will know it.
Yep. Yeah. Very well said.
Hey, listen, we got. I was really. If you had called me earlier today, you would have heard an angry man, because there was news out of the science world this morning. Hey, do you remember when we covered that the brand new monkey species a couple of months ago?
I do remember that.
And it was revealed, you and I revealed that actually, the scientists, they claim that it was a brand new species because they discovered it.
Right.
But we disclosed the fact that the locals had known about this species for thousands of years and kept them as pets, and so now we have this morning. I'm upset about this because I'm called a bigot all the time, and you're called a bigot all the time because of our stance, our loving stance toward the homosexual community.
Right.
I mean, we really love these people.
Absolutely.
For real.
Absolutely.
And you and I are called bigots because of that.
Yep.
And now we find this will all make sense as I stop muttering here.
Yeah, I was going to say I sure hope so, but go ahead.
Well, the headline is "New Species of Spider Makes Its Own Decoy to Fool Predators." Okay, and it's kind of a cool story. If you have arachnophobia, which is the fear of spiders, you may want to prepare yourself. But I mean, this is it's a cool story, but it could creep you out a little bit. I mean, it's one of the coolest examples of self-defense ever seen in nature.
Right.
And it begins with the discovery of now they're calling it a new species of spider, because there's no possible way it ever existed before this guy discovered it. See, but because he discovered it, this guy named Phil Torres, he's a scientist, by the way. And he discovered this thing, so they're calling it a new species.
Have you ever noticed that only scientists discover new things?
And nothing exists prior to them discovering it.
That's right. Only scientists who have, good jobs, or they're looking for good jobs, or they're writing a book or want to write a book. They're the only ones
need a grant.
Or need a grant. They're the only ones who ever discovered new species of animal. No one else does. I've never walked around. I'm in the woods all the time. I've never discovered a new species of animal. If I was just a scientist that needed a grant, maybe I could see a new species of animal.
See, it's all coming together now, because these animals have been known for centuries or even millennia, and yet they're not discovered, they're not known. These scientists put their own names on them and say, aha, this now exists because we say it does.
That's right.
And that is bigotry in its purest form.
It's the height of arrogance, narcissism.
It is, because bigotry essentially says our group, our way of doing things is far superior to anything you can or ever will do.
That's right. This spider exists because we say it does, and it never existed before because we never saw it.
And this is fraud. This is fraud. This is what keeps them in their jobs, essentially.
Right. But
it's coming up with all this. It's like the Higgs particle.
Right.
You've done a lot of great stuff on that.
Thank
you. I mean, you understand that far better than I do. But essentially, you know what, guys? They still haven't found that.
No, that's true. They thought that they might
keep releasing all of these press releases to keep the money coming in.
Right.
And that's the fraud here. And the fraud is that, hey, look, these spiders have been known by the locals and travelers through the land for hundreds and maybe even thousands of years.
Right.
They've probably been catching these spiders and dipping them in chocolate, feeding them to their kids. And yet, that particular monkey, it had been kept as pets. We found pictures of these things as domesticated animals.
Right.
Well, how many generations of this animal does it take to go from wild to domestic?
Right. But they never existed until a scientist saw it, and then all of a sudden, look what I discovered, a new species of monkey.
Yeah, this really burns me. I mean, because it's welfare science.
I can tell.
These are all guys on welfare collecting taxpayer money.
That's good. That's good.
To go around saying, look what we did, pay us now.
Yeah, that's good. And welfare science. Man, I'm going to steal that from you. That's good. In fact, I think I'm going to write a book. That's going to be the title. That's going to be the title. Welfare science.
You know what? That would be a good title. It is welfare science. And I believe that there needs to be an investigation launched into this evolution gate thing.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to start cutting, the fiscal cliff is going to happen here in a couple of weeks. If we're going to look for ways to cut the budget, let's start with the fraudulent scientific community who are it just begins at this level. This guy looks like he's in his 20s, perhaps.
Right.
He looks like a new scientist starting out, trying to make a name for himself. So he stumbles upon this spider,
right,
and he puts his own name on it. Probably going to call it the Torres spider,
right.
and then he's going to get a bunch of money from the government to promote the further the fraudulent activity of the atheistic scientific community.
Right.
But listen, that's the harmless end of it. You mentioned it at the beginning of the show, Carl, where this whole thing about finding new species, claiming that it's some sort of evolutionary leap,
right,
is child abuse.
Right. It is.
This is the reason. We're going to talk about this in the next segment. We're going to get deep and serious about this because we're going to do a little counseling for people. I think I might need a little bit of counseling on this spider story, actually.
I know.
I'm mad. I'm ready to hit somebody about this. But
I know. I was just thinking during the break, I really need to minister to you, brother. You've really got an anger problem today.
Well, I mean, it's a righteous anger because it begins as a young child in this area, but as it grows up into rampant child abuse.
Yeah. Where
children are being taught that they're nothing but animals. And I have an anecdote. I'm going to perhaps make a video with it's just me talking to a camera and tell people the anecdote of when my daughter was told by a world famous scientist to her face that she's nothing but an animal and that's all she'll ever be.
Wow. You've got to make that video. Listen, Mike, we've got to take a quick break, and then we can finish this or anything else. I know we want to get on to the Sandy Hook and child abuse and all of that. But let me ask you this, Mike. Do you have a blog article or something that you've done on this spider story?
No, I saw it this morning. I didn't want to write it because when I first saw it, I will be writing an article on it, but I didn't want to write it when I first saw it because it might have been rated R.
Okay, I got you. Well, I was just interested because I know a lot of the stuff that you bring to this program, you do have materials that you've produced, either video or your TV program or articles, and I just wanted to be able to refer people to it because we have some folks that are driving home right now listening to this on the radio, and they're thinking, "Hey, when I get home, I want to look at that." So that's why I asked.
Yeah, we publish all day long. We publish science articles proposing the fraud that's behind all of this, and really exposing the truth that intelligent design and special creation and recent special creation really is the intelligent and scientific way to go here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we'll talk more about all the P.P. Simmons properties and ministries when we come back. We are going to take a time out, folks, and we'll have a lot more conversation with Mike Shoesmith. Hey, if you want to be a part of the show, if you want to ask Mike something or get engaged in this conversation, 623-1330, area code 850, or just sit back and relax. Most of our listeners enjoy that, just getting a nice warm drink on a cool evening and just sitting back and having a good time and listening to us. You can get all this stuff on podcast. You can download it later. Go to carlgallups.com. At the top of the page, click Get Podcast here, and you can download it and listen to it that way. All right, well, we'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere.